What's good, everybody? It's your boy, Insight motherfucking 11, man. And we're back at you again with another powerful video, man. Today we're talking about the mind pressures you into jumping back, aka jump starting into that old way of being, aka that pattern of being, right? Because check this out, right? Whenever you're trying to leave that old mind behind, that old mind, whenever you're trying to jump into a new mind and new way of thinking and feeling, or just going about things from a space of clarity, right? That old mind is still running programs in the back of our subconscious and shit like that, right? So that old mind is gonna try to jump start your observation into that paradigm, right? So say for example, you have a negative belief about yourself, right? That negative belief about yourself can manifest in thoughts, in feelings, imaginations, and shit like that, right? But if you observe that and jump into that belief rather than just continuously paying attention to whatever it is you was doing to get out of that, then that's gonna put you at a risk of jumping back into that pattern and reigniting that creation. So you really gotta snap out of it. And we make these words for a reason. We tell people, yo, snap out of it, bro. What are you thinking about? What are you feeling about? So I'm gonna tell you the same shit. Snap out of it. That's a pattern that's running your life. However, it's just a pattern that's taking root. It doesn't have to become the rest of your life. But that decision can only be made by you. So I'm gonna tell you the same shit that I told myself today. Snap out of it, bro. And we got some information. We got some notes that we're about to go into and shit like that. So we can explore this topic further and shit. A lot of times I do like to go off the top of my dome and shit. But just because I do be at work, it does save me time and energy to, just sit at work and just write this as well. This way, I have it all ready and constructed by the time that I'm back at home, But without further ado, man, let's get right into this, shall we? So the mind does not like to change patterns, right? If it's set on a path already, it's going to replicate and duplicate itself to fulfill whatever it has belief in, right? The programming is a cycle that the spirit observer keeps being stuck into due to being occupied by thoughts and feelings that the observer or that spirit has accumulated that becomes its filtering lens of how they view life, right? So whatever program is running your subconscious mind, it's an accumulation of thoughts and feelings that now program the conscious mind on how to view reality. But a lot of the times, these are views, beliefs that we have developed about life via our experiences and shit like that. If you come from a really negative childhood background and shit like that, you might develop a lot of these beliefs, a lot of these negative feelings that hold you back from jumping into new experiences and shit that you would like to experience, but just based upon that paradigm, that belief that you might carry with you, it may not allow you to go into that freely and smoothly. Not that there's anything smooth in life, but it's just this self-perpetuated perception that we have of ourselves that a lot of the times can, hold us back from, going and doing more with our life as we would like, right? And shit like that. So now, when you're changing your mind, right, putting yourself in a better space to experience existence on the mental plane that afterwards becomes your 3D life, because your 3D objective conscious external life, right, is always going to be a result of your subconscious existence, right? What's going on in the mental plane? When you deal with your own mind, you'll create a different reality, because now the thoughts and feelings that are creating those patterns are now not being fired, not being ignited, allowing your mind, allowing your space to be more free to experience reality without being bombarded by your own subconscious, by your own pattern that may be preventing a person from going into that new space they want to experience, whether externally or internally and shit like that, right? Because a lot of these things people be looking for outside of them really be inside of them, like satisfaction, gratitude, happiness. All these things are just human emotions that we generate via our observations and shit like that, right? So it's like the more you know what you're doing with your mind, the more you know what you're doing with your spirit, you can generate the reality that you want to experience. But that's like way later down the line, because it's like a lot of the times people put too much faith, too much belief into whatever they've already experienced in life, and they let that create their life for them, and that becomes their whole life, and they're unable to get out of that and shit like that. So you don't want to be stuck into that, because it's like, if you just look at your experiences and you don't like the experiences that you're generating, then you have to go within, adjust, mentally shift, so you can go without and do whatever it is that you want to do and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? So you want to keep in mind that the old mind, right? You want to keep in mind that the old mind, plus that thought and feeling that create that old mind, are always going to try to pressure you into participating back into that old mind pattern. Keyword pressure. A lot of the times your subconscious mind will try to apply pressure on your observer, on your spirit, to live out that pattern. So let's say, for example, that you want to engage with something new in your life, right? Let's say you want to quit smoking, whatever it is, and you start to do it, you start to do that, blah blah blah, right? A lot of the times that pattern is going to pressure you, right, through the subconscious into reliving, recreating that experience. So your mind is going to prompt you. It's going to tell you, yo, go get that cigarette. 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 And a lot of the times the mind is very creative and very good at making us believe our own pattern, making us believe that our reality is actually, that's the end all be all. But a lot of the times it just takes changing what's going on in your mind so you can actually experience whatever reality that you want to experience. You know what I'm saying? Real shit. So it's like your thoughts and feelings are trying to peer pressure the observer into continuing with that old mind, right? Like think about when you got a group of friends outside of you, or a group of people outside of you that want to peer pressure you into doing shit that you don't want to actually necessarily fucking do, right? Look at that external circumstance situation as just internal shit that's going on within you. Let's say you got a thought called John. John likes to do drugs for the sake of escapism. Now, John is going to try to peer pressure you, right, into going back and doing those things because that's what John likes to do. But John is an existence within you that we have created due to coexisting with that pattern and perpetually repeating that pattern. So we have affirmed that pattern and we've empowered that pattern and we have basically given this pattern so much power. Now when the time comes when the person wants to detach from these habits, detach from these behaviors, detach from these thoughts and feelings, John is not going to be too happy about that. John is going to be like, bro, we've been hanging out for a long time. We homies, dog. I'm here with you forever. Like, let's say, for example, you participate with some friends, you go to the club, you go to the bar, and this is what you guys are doing all the time, right? If you try to get out of that, those friends are not going to like it because it's like, that's a whole cycle that we just started with our friends. And when you try to leave that cycle, it's gonna be like, hey man, so what's going on, bro? You're too good to hang out with us or something like that? Look at your thoughts and feelings like the same shit. Your thoughts and feelings are gonna look at you like, what, bro? You too good to hang out with me? Like, come on, man. You was just doing that yesterday. So you're telling me you're not gonna do it today? Come on, B, you lying, bro. I don't believe you. So it's like, the more time and energy you give that cycle of thoughts and feelings, that old mind, the more time and energy you're gonna have to put in to get out of it. And it's really tricky because your mind will try to pressure you literally. You're gonna feel like there's this rush of blood, this rush of influences in your mind, within your body. And it's only gonna make you feel right about yourself only if you jump back into that old pattern. Because here's the thing, right? The mind actually looks at that shit like an error. Whenever you're getting off that pattern that you've been programmed with, the mind always looks at that shit like an error. Oh shit, this observer, this spirit is doing an error. Let's make sure we recorrect that error because we have recognized that it's the spirit, this mind, this observer is jumping into a pattern outside of its norm. So we have normalized, we have conditioned our mind to operate in a particular pattern. And whenever we want to get out of that particular pattern, it's gonna be a fight of being able to let go, not letting yourself get peer pressured, not letting yourself get tricked by your own mind, because the mind plays tricks a lot of the times. And you gotta know this when you're trying to change, because the mind is very good at keeping you in check, because it's literally a survival mechanism. Like, the mind is not like unfamiliar new shit. Like, think about it, right? When you drive to work, you probably drive to work the same way. A lot of people probably don't even drive to work a different way because the way they was driving to work, that's what they've always been doing. So it's just normal for them to do that. So it's like whatever route you've been going down on your mind and shit like that, that's been normalized. But whenever you want to get out of that, your mind is gonna be like, nah, B, that's an error. We're gonna recorrect that, homie, because the mind, there's the mind, the spirit, and the 3D body. The spirit just want to go experience shit. You just want to go create new experiences and shit like that. The mind like to cater to whatever programming it has already accumulated and shit like that. The body is just how we play out what's on our mind, right? Because check this out. You're going to go dream after this video or whatever you do. And I guarantee you whatever you're doing in your dream is just what you're doing with your mind and shit like that. So when you go to sleep, you're experiencing your mind. When you wake up, you're experiencing your mind just through this body and shit like that, right? So we're literally in a dream, but people think this dream is so real. This dream is so real, bro. I mean, for real, bro. That people literally don't want to get out of it because literally people believe in that mentality that they created and shit like that, right? And then a lot of people might, blame God, blame whatever, shift blame. You could do that and shit like that, right? But you gotta understand that if you're in this mind right now, the mind that you created, that's just the cycle that you in. So you're not going nowhere until you deal with that mind. Because these thoughts and feelings on your mind that are peer pressuring you, these are like your children that are rebelling against the father, you. So you don't want to house no rebellious children that are taking you off your purpose or your quest or your mission of expansion in life. So you got to deal with these children and discipline them and tell them, hey, Sarah, stop being a bitch. Meaning like, hey, feelings, stop feeling insecure or whatever the person may be dealing with and shit. Like, so when I talk about women, men, I'm always talking about thoughts, feelings. So when you see me calling Sarah a bitch, John an asshole, I'm just talking about a thought, a feeling that we spark that created a reality that we're trying to get out of and shit like that, right? So it's like your own thoughts and feelings are trying to peer pressure the observer into continuing with that old mind pattern. It's like thoughts and feelings are jump starting your mind as a battery to keep accepting that charge of energy, which is just the insinuated belief or pattern or way of life that the subconscious mind wants you to uphold, right? Because like I said, whenever you try to get out of that pattern, your own mind is gonna try to like zap you, be like, jumpstart the battery, like, oh, here's these thoughts and feelings, oh, take these back, oh, yeah, let's, that's your mind is trying to jumpstart that reality. So it's like, you really gotta like, shift from that and shit, So, because it's what the mind has become familiarized with, and it views that as the true reality, regardless if it's good or bad. So you can be experiencing a mind that's really, really bad, but because it has been familiarized with that reality mentally, you're always gonna experience that physically, right? Like, nobody wants to be a victim. Nobody wants to be a loser. Nobody wants to be an incapable motherfucker. But people believe in these things, so they play out these things. So it doesn't matter what you believe in. It doesn't matter if it's good, it's bad. Shit. Since you familiarize yourself with it, since you've been familiarized with it, since you've been institutionalized in it, since you've been indoctrinated in it, that's going to become your reality. So whatever you want to call God, if you believe in it, God is Buddha, God is Allah, God is Jesus Christ, God is the Father, whatever you want to put your belief in, if you believe in it, then it becomes real. So I'm gonna ask you again, what do you believe in and why do you believe in that shit? Because if it's not something that's giving you the experiences, the results that you want to experience in your life, you should probably purge that shit. A fire in the hole, motherfucker. You should bomb these thoughts and feelings. Now I'm just playing. You don't gotta bomb nothing. You don't gotta bomb nothing. Don't worry about that. So this pressure is a result of the accumulation of a pattern, and that pattern has taken a life of its own, and it wants to continue to exist like a parasite that needs a host, because you're literally dealing with a spirit, and a person can house a spirit unknowingly, and it becomes a part of their existence, and that spirit just attaches itself to you. And a lot of times people don't realize it, man. If you attach yourself to a negative spirit that's giving you negative experiences, and you're fucking somebody, you're bringing that spirit, you're bringing that existence, you're bringing that parasite into life through your dick, through the woman's womb, and it's gonna bring like a demonic spirit into existence. I'm not saying it's good or bad. It's just, it is what it is, and shit. Because unfortunately, people are not aware of what they're doing. So a lot of the times, like, and this is like some other shit, but like, what's it called? I look like Goku right now. Anyways, what's it called? That's why people say in some Hebrew scripture, blah blah blah. The angels didn't want people to have sex because, you know, the people were having sex irresponsibly, and then, you know, they was producing bad children, bad offspring, and then bad offspring ruled the earth, blah blah blah, and that's why we are where we are today. But that's not the point. The point is just like, you gotta govern your mind so you're not bringing these negative spirits into existence and shit like that. And having children is never bad, it's never negative. It's just that humanity itself is unaware of what it does, so it creates like a retarded existence. Like, it's like that. Shit, it's like that, bro. For real. Yeah. So the old mind will bombard you with frequencies, vibrations that resonate with that pattern, right? Like when you wake up in the morning, you're gonna get bombarded by a bunch of thoughts, by a bunch of feelings, and those thoughts and feelings are gonna project on you the reality that you believe in, and you're gonna wake up and you're gonna go live that pattern right away. So you're gonna go to sleep with a pattern, you're gonna wake up with a pattern. A thought and a feeling is gonna hit your mind right away, and it's gonna jumpstart you into that pattern right away, and then you're gonna live out that pattern as if it's normal, but it's not normal. We have just made it normal and shit like that, right? So yeah, the old mind will bombard you with frequencies, vibrations that resonate with that pattern. The trick is not to succumb to it, because the mind, again, is trying to trick you into taking that roundabout right back into that old pattern. So to stop something, you gotta start something, right? Because when you take your awareness off of it and start and focus on a new pattern, you empower the new pattern, creating a lack of room for that old pattern to come back into existence, right? And what do I mean by this, right? Like, let's say you want to get out of drinking, just start something else, right? Because when you're focused on that, when you're giving your awareness, your attention to that, your intention to that, it's like you're fathering in a new child automatically, because now your energy, your attention, your awareness is being given to like a new part. You're breathing life into a new part of you, and slowly and surely, if you keep giving your attention, your awareness to whatever is putting your mind off of that old pattern. Let's say you're drawing, for example, right? And you're drawing and shit like that. That's gonna get your mind off of a lot of old things and shit like that, and that's going to be you fathering a new child, a new perspective, a new way to live in the world. Because when you're drawing, when you're writing, whatever it is that you do, when you connect the dots, you're literally solving problems in real time. And when you're solving problems in real time, you're essentially evolving your mind. You're becoming, I don't want to say intellectually superior or anything like that, but you could become more of a logical, practical, intellectual being. And that mentality comes with you everywhere you go. Think about your beliefs, right? Your beliefs, your awareness of that belief come with you everywhere you go. So whatever you do just comes with you everywhere you go. So that's why people say, like, yeah, even if you do something behind closed doors and you pretend like you're somebody else in front of people, whatever you was doing behind closed doors is always going to come with you, and there'll be signs, subtle signs that there may be an inconsistency with this person and they're not really who they say they are and shit like that, right? So it gets really, really interesting. So, but the whole point of this is just literally to stop something, literally start something. And shout out to Dr. Will Rogers, because he was talking about this in his lectures and shit like that too, right? Shout him out. He was talking about if you want to stop something, just start something. Just give your awareness to something else and just literally start that. And just, it gets your mind off of these old things and shit like that. So you're not giving attention, awareness, because when you give your attention and awareness to that old mind, it's like bringing it back into existence. It's like healing what was dead, because like the dead just should be dead. What we have experienced in the past should stay in the ground, and we shouldn't make these things alive again. That's a form of like necromancy and shit like that, where you're trying to relive the past, but you're in the present moment. And unfortunately, a lot of people bring all of their baggages from the past into the present moment and live that shit out as if it has anything to do with the present moment. That's why you see people like So you see people playing out certain traits, certain characteristics and shit like that. A lot of times it just be because of shit that they experienced a lot of the times that got them flunked down and shit like that. And so they may be playing out like characteristics, traits that may be negative and shit like that. But they may not be aware enough to detach from these things. And they might just look at these bad characteristics as, you know, as a part of them. They might look at it, hey, this is just me. I'm just an angry, hateful motherfucker. This is just who I am. And they make this bad character a part of them, not realizing that, hey, I need to learn to govern myself better. This way, I don't flunk myself. Because a motherfucker's angry all the time, you might do something that doesn't even make sense, like out of spite, out of anger, and you might go to jail, all because a person couldn't fucking control themselves and shit like that. But yeah, with that being said, everybody, this was the mind pressures you into jumping back into old ways of being or patterns of being. You know, be very careful when you're changing, because your mind will always try to trick you back into that circumstance, situation. And remember, everything takes time. Nothing is a snap off, snap on. Like everything takes time. So I'm not expecting you, I'm not telling you that you're gonna wake up tomorrow after watching this video and you're gonna be the next Jesus Christ, you're gonna be the next fucking Buddha. What I'm saying is, it's a process. Even I have to learn this. I have to learn to like take my time and be like, okay, you know what? I don't have to make it overnight. Let me just do the process every single day, and slowly and surely, if I'm honestly earnest, because God loves an honest, earnest spirit, right? And an honest, earnest spirit will always do the shadow work and do the work and do the process. And then once you get to that time, you're going to be able to bloom open like a flower, because now you're breathing new life into existence, and you're going to come into the world out of that cocoon like a new being, reborn. But what's going to be reborn is the fucking mind, right? And shit like that. Yeah. Some Bible quote just came to my mind, but it wasn't the one I was looking for. But anyways, with that being said, everybody, peace out. I'm going to see y'all motherfucking tomorrow. Peace out.